Any other questions, sir?
Yes, basic nuts and bolts. Individual, it's a lack of elimination, not so much imbalance in digestion, but it seems that the sphincter nerve in the anus is like very, very tight, and regardless to laxatives, et cetera, it's just hard for the individual to eliminate properly. So that in turn has a tendency to keep the toxins around, which permeates the thinking process, et cetera, et cetera. They express the discomfort more on the level of intellect being unclear and cloudy. That seems to be the major result of the lack of free-flowing elimination. How to approach it with herbs, Ho'oponopono.
That would be yours, Morrnah.
I would say Ho'oponopono first. No matter what I do, what condition or situation it may be, no matter how minor, the Ho'oponopono is always the clearinghouse. And then from there you work. And of course, I always like to take a case history of the patient to know exactly what their backgrounds are, because the majority of people in this particular case is the stress that has been brought upon them from a long period of time, emotional stress, then dietary. So because the emotional affects you psychologically, and psychologically throws your metabolism off, so it affects your free flow of your metabolism in the body. And so this is the way I feel. This is the way I work. I work it through Ho'oponopono, then case history to see where around of this contributes to that person's problem. Many of it is the environment he's in, business environment, the people he works with, or marital life, or probably family responsibilities, or whatever it may be, lack of money, or lack of too much money that you are not able to control. So there's so many things that contribute to a case. There is no easy way of finding a solution. I mean, as far as I'm concerned. I always like to be really careful and thorough in trying to take an analysis of the person as far as case is concerned. Because each case is an individual case, and I do not feel that you take this case, you can cure everybody else of somewhat similar cases. It is an individual one.
Could I sort of describe yours as maybe a person like going through stress in like my first time going to football and meeting these guys for the first time, I get all knotted up.
Yeah.
Okay, now the problem after that is once I make contact, it's finished. But the person you're describing seems to carry that anxiety home and it doesn't let go.
Yeah.
And that begins a problem. Meditate. Because you do it with sports and race and everything else, and you get all psyched up when you get all tight. I'm sorry. No?
Well, I have an answer. I'd like to answer the gentleman's question. The fact that since you meditate, try to condition yourself to that point that as you Ho'oponopono the individual, you probably have gone into and then go into meditation about that particular case. And when you are in that particular area, sometimes you have visions, sometimes you have a feeling of what you might be able to help. Maybe it's sort of it's not the norm, but if you respond to it and try it, you will find maybe the remedy is there. Because we are trying to say, well, if aspirin cures a headache, we should prescribe an aspirin. Maybe that person is not geared for an aspirin. All it takes is something very simple, a hot tea, chamomile tea, or something of that nature. If it comes to your mind, try to see if it works. And the more you listen to your intuitive mind, the more you become able and capable of prescribing something for the individual only and not for the masses.
Thank you.
Sir?
Let me direct this to Morrnah. Morrnah, the others have answered about their lower self. What do you view your lower self as, and do you go for your lower self to reach your high self for answers?
Well, I suppose I have not made any distinction with my lower self. In other words, I find because it's one all the time, I cannot separate them. There's no separation between my low, middle, and high self. Yes.
Ma'am?
Is it so that disincarnate spirits, spirits that you see, often cling into our energy body around our being and hover there or stay there and carry along with us?
I would say yes.
And if so, is Ho'oponopono to dispel those beings from your space?
Well, let's say these are entities. I say entities. Well, if they are around or on you or possessing a person, Ho'oponopono is the thing. You say, I wish to do a Ho'oponopono on the entity's situation or problem that's affecting this patient or individual. So this is how because you don't know what it is. Could be an entity, or could be many entities. So whatever they are, you are including in an umbrella coverage, so that you're including all of them and then you transmute them. And if they are earthbound spirits, you ask that they be released to the path of light after you have done Ho'oponopono. And by so doing, you completely release them from these people or places, because they may go to someone else. They may go to another person or a place or where they came from. But you completely move them into the light.
Can it be done on oneself?
Yes, you do it on one.
I'm saying can.
Yes, you
I
can.
myself.
But when you do this, after you have done this, always be sure to put your force field of light around the person or yourself and put another ring around. Some people see an indigo ring, a gold ring, or a blue ring, whatever it is that comes to your mind. But you must put a force field around because it acts as a buffer, as a protection. People who like rainbows and put rainbow light around. But your buffer is important. Yes.
Well, the one against the wall, please.
I was just wondering, you've been saying to use light and color. Perhaps there are people that don't understand, what that means. I know I just visualize and know that what I'm imagining is there. Perhaps there are people that don't know how to do
Yeah,
that.
that's a good question. There are possibilities maybe people can't see. We do not anticipate for you to see. Just imagine. Like if I say blue, I may not even know what blue. Just the word blue pulls out of your computer the color blue. Dark blue, light blue. So if you say rainbow, you've seen the rainbow here for so long, your computer automatically pulls up a rainbow. But don't try to concentrate and visualize. How many people can see? Very few. Yes.
Morrnah, I have a question I'd like to ask you. In regards to mentioning 7 times whatever you did, are you reaching into 7 psychic centers of the human body, or are you reaching towards 7 spiritual beings, if you use the term 7 and I think you did it
Or in the breathing system that I had, this was given to me because at that time I didn't understand why it's number 7, because the Hawaiians used a different system. But the number 7, from the time I was told that it was the number of God. And it's the number of which every part of our body, if we really analyze them, they are under the 7 systems, 7 centers. You find that in most of the organs. You find there are 7. There's number 7 dominates. I didn't know that till quite some time later, but that is the reason why I use 7.
You do reach into what they call the androgen glands, which are the 7.
Well, it's all inclusive because the energy forces, or the way we're reaching in, because everything is all pervading. It's hard to say, well, I'm going to do with this first center and second or third. It's a complete body, everything.